Hey everyone, Michael Kelly here at Treebird Organics. We are just getting ready to move the pigs out of their training area. We put a hot wire up just inside of a permanent fence for while they're young, for while we're training them. It trains them to run backwards when they hit the line. Their first instinct when they're young is to run forward when they hit a hot wire, and typically that means they just run right through it and you've got pigs out. So this is where we train them in. We've got our special little spot here, like I said, where I've got my hot wire, 6 inches out or so from the fence, and about 8 inches up, 8-10, depending on the size of the hogs. I moved it up a little bit about a week ago or 2 weeks ago as they got a little bigger, but you can see they impact the areas really heavily. This was all nice green alfalfa about a month ago when they got in here, and they are ready to move out. So we've been overseeding it. I've got some water flowing, and we're also going to mulch it once they're actually out of here, so I'll give this ground a chance to rest. It'll rest all summer long until the fall when we get our next batch of weaners in here. So anyways, I just opened up a new area for them. They haven't quite figured out where this gate was. So initially I opened the gate for a few days, but I still had a hot wire up and they didn't go over it because that was kind of a familiar fence line with them. Now I've actually taken this fencing out around and opened up a whole new area for them. And I don't know, it's hard to see in the video, but we've got this run out here. So this gives us a much better sense of if they're trained or not. If we can keep them in this wire for a few days and they don't get out of just the double strand hot wire, that's all that's going to be keeping them in now. And so if they stay in that, then we know we're ready to move them up to the upper field. Pigs love their water. Wallow, wallow, water. You see our chickens are enjoying the pigs too. They like all the grain that's around the pigs. Anyways, I actually forgot to hook the hot wire up after I changed things. So I am going to hook that back up gingerly and gently. Got a problem down here. You always got to have fence components nice and tight, so that there's not loose connections or fittings or pipes or anywhere. You can see that one barely misses the water trough. That's because I wanted the water. Jeez, they get it so dirty so fast. We'll refresh that here shortly. Yeah. Anyways, pigs love the mud. They love to eat everything, including the roots. You can see that's why they dig these pits everywhere, they dig these holes. But what's interesting is they really are actually doing some tillage to the soil, but in a very slow way, where they're just turning it gently. Oh yeah. So they figured out that there's no longer a fence up right here where we're standing. Now they're getting out into this area. And the key moment is to see that they get shocked. So I'm going to just be hanging out here waiting to see that one of them, tests this perimeter fence, because they will test it. Pigs will always test fence. And or they might just go running and not see that it's there, because again, this is a completely unfamiliar fence line to them. So this whole area is brand new to them. But we're getting them on a fresh pasture. This is actually part of what really helps develop the flavor in the pork. Not only the grains that they get, the really high quality organic grains that we give them, but getting them out on pasture, getting the exercise is really another thing that develops a lot of flavor and makes for that leaner, nice meat. But between the pasture and the grains and the exercise, the sunlight, you get nice high vitamin D content fat on those pigs. So these are the ingredients, so to speak, that make up good pastured pork. So again, I'm just kind of watching them to, I want to make sure I see one of them get shocked, because that really tells me, okay, they see the fence, I just stepped over it. That's why I really like this double strand fencing. When in the summer, when it's really dry, we'll add a redundant ground in there. I can talk about that in another video. But while we've still got some moisture in the ground, or while we're on our irrigated fields, we got pretty good ground in the soil for these hot wires. These guys are loving the new space here. Wouldn't you? If you were in a space like that. Now, a little bit of a rub here on my end. This field where they just were would actually meet AWA guidelines for pastured pork. At least the way I read the rules, it says that it has to have had evidence of vegetative cover in the same calendar year. Well, it had vegetative cover a month ago when we put them in here, but it was pretty well gone within a couple weeks. And by that definition under AWA, we could actually have them on that beat up area for a lot longer. But you know, that's looking at the animal welfare, that's looking at the actual welfare of the hogs, and those are great standards in terms of space. And yeah, they'd be technically healthy over there and happy. They'd be happy, and you know, if you had a good feed for them and you clean bedding, you know, you do that sort of stuff, that would still make for a happy hog. What it's not really great for is the actual land itself. It is not a good way to treat these soils. You know, you end up getting a lot of manure buildup in these little areas, concentrated areas, and they just really compact the soils. And when the soils don't get a chance to rest, they just end up degrading very, very quickly. So that's, you know, moving them to fresh pasture throughout the year, and you know, keeping them on new areas it's good for them. You know, they love to run around and do all the stuff pigs will do, and they love to eat the fresh grass. It's going to help with the flavor, like I said. Helps the happiness factor, as we've got the hogs squirreling around having so much fun. I'm still waiting to see that one get shocked. You can see that one's like checking out the fence line. Now I weed whacked the fence line so that it's a really clear line. I mean, I did that also so that there's not a bunch of brush on the line, because I want that line as hot as possible. That's the other part of our training system, is these hot wires right here down in this area actually pull right off of our barn over there where we've got our hot wires hooked into AC power. So this is a really, really hot wire for training. We're pushing minimum of 7,000 kilovolts or whatever it is. I'm terrible with those sorts of numbers. My gauge just tells me 7 or 7.5. Those are good numbers and above for training purposes, because that hurts, guaranteed from experience. Once we get them to the upper field where we only have solar chargers, we're down at like 5 to 6.5 on the scale, and that'll still give you a good little shock, but it's not enough to really turn an animal. And so the big part of it is keeping them happy, and when they get trained to a really, really hot wire, they tend to not test it as much. So that's kind of, again, why we want them trained properly, so that when we can get them up onto our upper pasture where they have a lot of acre of roam, it's about an 8-acre field, then we know that they're not going to test that wire as much, because they have a bare field network. Sorry if the wind is making the microphone go all funky here. I still haven't seen one test the line, so again, I'm going to hang out. I may end the video here, but I'm going to hang out until I actually see one touch it and react, because again, that's when I know that it's working. I didn't actually have my fence tester on me, but when I connected it, made the connection after I put it up, it did pop pretty good. So I know from that pop that I've got juice in the system. It'd be nice to have my tester on me, and I'll test it later to know the actual number. Well, these are happy little hoggies. This is, you know, why we wanted to do this here. We felt like, well, I'm a carnivore. I like meat. And so it's a good, but I just couldn't find meat that I felt like was raised to our standards. What we wanted, we wanted to know that they were certified organic, no chemical pesticides, fertilizers, herbicides, anything like that, anywhere in the supply chain, not in their feeds, not in our fields. You know, obviously we're not going to do that in our fields, but by getting high quality certified organic locally produced feeds, we know that those feeds are produced without the use of any of those sorts of chemical fertilizers or anything like that. And then also just letting them have room to roam. You know, if you're getting pork in the store, chances are that pork was most likely raised in a big factory. Those factory settings have a lot of advantages, mostly in the realm of price. You can get your price way down by raising hogs in factories, and that's a multitude of reasons. Probably another video entirely. Really, I'm just trying to give a little intro to our farm here and how we're doing things. Thought I'd give a little intro on the pigs. I know a lot of people are raising pigs now in their backyards, and there's certainly things that we have learned here that if hopefully we can share them, and not everybody has to learn those same mistakes. The big one, if you're doing hot wires, keep the wire hot. Check it, test it every day. Don't skimp on that, because there's, in my experience, one of the most stressful things is when animals get out, especially hogs. They're really hard to herd, and they you know, sometimes respond to feed, but again, if they're out and enjoying your garden or your neighbor's garden, chances are the feed is way better of what they're rooting around in out there than anything you're going to bring them. So it can be really hard to round up hogs once they're already out. Got some that are potentially testing the line over here. But anyways, your best prevention is just keep them in where you want them, which is a good recipe for happy pigs and a happy farmer or homesteader or whatever you want to call yourself. Get good hot wires, test them a lot. Don't let brush come up against them. Maintain your fences, and then you won't be so stressed out, and you'll be able to raise excellent quality meat right there in your own yard. Even though I want to say our pork is the best, anything that you can grow in your backyard with your blood, sweat, and tears is going to taste better. That's just how it is. When you put your time and your energy and your love, and you know exactly how that animal was raised, that's what's going to give that best flavor, because there is a component of it that's psychological, knowing where that came from. So anyways, like I said, I'm going to hang out a little bit longer, wait for one of these guys to actually test the fence, because again, I want to know that it's working. I want to know that they're respecting this line. So far they seem to be. I like that they have walked the perimeter, they have seen the area, so that tells me that they at least can physically see the fence. Again, that's important, rather than having them just like run right out and run right into or through the fence. They did stop and slow down, and they saw that fence and they didn't test it. So in general, in terms of training, I like that, those general facts. However, I like to have things be done all the way. And if I wait here an hour and I don't see one get shocked, then I'm happy. But again, if I see them testing the fence, and especially if I see them testing it and not getting shocked, then I know that I've got problems and I need to address those right away. If you ever come up with problems on your fence line and you see any sort of little anomaly, a low reading, or you see one that rubbed up against and didn't get shocked, it's time to check that fence, because otherwise you're gonna probably run into problems in the next 24 to 48 hours. Pigs are extremely curious. They are constantly testing. They will sense if it's off, and there's why it's good that I came out here, or if it's still hanging out here. This fence just blew a little bit into the fence, and you can hear it popping. So I obviously have to secure that fence so that duck doesn't, or secure the gates so that they don't blow into the fence line and ground my system out. 3 reasons animals get out that I've found is that they're hungry, or they're bored, or human error. So though you can do a lot just with prevention by keeping animals where you want them, and therefore being able to keep them moving. Makes it a lot easier to move animals and keep them moving when you trust your systems and you just have good systems down. That's how we've been able to grow more and more every year with the same amount of people power, or less at times, just by getting good systems in. Anyways, hope you enjoyed my little video. I will be trying to post more as time goes on, as we share our farm. Feel free to post questions. I will try to get back to you with questions, comments. If you're vegan and watching this, I don't have much of a response. I will probably ignore any sort of hateful stuff towards what we're doing. I'm always happy to engage in constructive conversation on that subject, but I will not respond to anybody who just comes down hating. So these are happy pigs. You know, we do our best to treat them with respect. We love all our critters here. So again, hope you enjoyed our video. Have a beautiful day.